Hello and welcome back to the Not the Old Firm YouTube channel. My name is Ben Banks, back to look back on a week's worth of League Cup action. It's been an international break, not quite like any other we've witnessed in recent times. Games going on every couple of days in between the Scotland fixtures as well. Got a week's worth of interviews to look back on from managers and players alike, so we hope you do enjoy as we go through this extensive review of all the action that's going on. We've also had an extensive review and previews of the Scotland games coming up. Obviously, as we record this tonight, the Scotland national team play Czech Republic, and we will have instant reaction to that on the channel as well. And we'll have exclusive interviews coming later in the week alongside the return of the Premiership action, reviews and previews for that to come. But plenty to go through, so we'll get right into it for League Cup action. Starting in Group A, we'll go through each group in order of the alphabet. Starting last week when the action kicked off, it was first of all East Fife 2, Cowdenbeath 0. Hearts 1, Inverness 0. Hearts off to a winning start in their group. The Saturday as well, Cowdenbeath then had Hearts at Methill. It was a tough game for Hearts in that one. It had also been moved to the Bayview home of East Fife due to problems with Cowdenbeath Stadium, but a tough game nonetheless for Hearts. Wraith Rovers 2, East Fife 1, and in the action most recently it was Inverness 0, Cowdenbeath 0. Penalties deciding the one in Inverness, whereas Hearts returned to victory 3-1 over Wraith Rovers as they start their campaign with a 100% record. In Group A, we did have an interview from this one. I heard from Robbie Neilson at the end of the game as they beat Cowdenbeath 1-0 at the weekend. Spoke to the press after it, and here's what he had to say about the 1-0 victory.
It's going to be like that this season. There's going to be a lot of teams that we play against that will just sit in. 2 banks are full, they sit and make it very difficult for you to set halves on the ball. And it's up to us to move the ball a lot more quickly. It's up to us to get used to the surface. We've been playing against that in Arrow, Wraith Rovers, Queen of the South. So, for us, I felt it was a good indication of what it's going to be like going forward in certain games. He was going to start, so we got a phone call last night and so we got a call up, which is great for Andy. I'm delighted for him. For us, we missed that ability and the dictate the game. So we brought Scotland on for the debut, which was great for the kid. Actually thought it did very well. That's what he's going to move it very well.
So that was the thoughts of Robbie Neilson after that one. A competitive start in Group A. I think everybody would have expected Hearts to sort of coast out in front in that one, and so it's proved. Cowdenbeath as well can be happy with their efforts in that one. Really good performance against Hearts, and we're very unlucky not to actually take something on that on the balance of play. Hearts weren't at their best at that one, but they did eventually show their superiority in the end. And they got the draw with Inverness as well, albeit beating on penalties. So Gary Bolland's men will take a lot of pride from that into their League 2 campaign. Group B, we move on to that one. Was the big talking point last week, Dundee versus Forfar, postponed due to a positive COVID test in the Forfar camp, leading to Dundee getting the 3 points in that one. So the actual competitive action in this group kicked off on the Wednesday. Hibs beating Brora Rangers 3-1. 3-1 makes it sound slightly easier, but it was difficult for Hibs. Pushed them all the way. It wasn't until Paul Hanlon's stoppage time winner that they actually got that third goal and safety. Brora, the Highland League champions, pushing them all the way. And on to this Saturday, Hibs again pushed very hard by lower league opposition, this time Cove Rangers, who took the lead in that one, but eventually coming back, Kevin Nisbet continuing his good form as they beat Cove 2-1. And Dundee beat Brora Rangers 2-0, a slightly more comfortable victory there for James McPate's side, who, they got 3 points in their first game due to the forfeit, but this was their first actual competitive game where the ball was rolling, and they got the victory in that one. And as well as that is the action most recently, Brora Rangers 2, Cove Rangers 2, Cove Rangers 2-0 up in that one. Brora Rangers coming back to pull it back to 2 each and winning the penalty shootout as well. So the Highland League champions will be very pleased with their efforts against SPFL sides heading into their new season. And Hibs beat Forfar 1-0 at 87th minute header from David Gray. He sure does like those in Hibs colours, and he does like them in having winners in domestic cup competition. So that was Group B, and after the game last Wednesday against Cove Rangers, we heard from Hibs manager Jack Ross.
I think we were still, I think we could and should have been obviously in a much more comfortable position, and but when there is only one goal and it is more anxious than it should be, but I still think we were in control of the game. So a little bit frustrated with the second half performance, but equally with a lot of players on the pitch that haven't played a lot this season, so I think it was nice just to get them on the park and part of a winning team.
So that was the action in Group B. Moving on to Group C, who didn't kick off until last Wednesday, slightly later than a couple of other groups. First of all, it was Brechin 2, Dundee United 6. Quite a competitive game, but Dundee United obviously stretching away and sealing a very comfortable victory in that one. And Kelty Hearts of the Lowland League pushing St Johnstone all the way in a 2-1 victory for Callum Davidson's side. Even though they were playing Lowland League opposition, a really important one for them after their poor form of late in the Premiership. So to get that victory, probably a weight off the shoulders ever so slightly for the Perthshire Saints, and they returned to goal scoring form on the Saturday as well, beating Brechin City 7-0. Mark Wilson's side suffering a heavy defeat. The big talking point on the Saturday in that group was Peterhead's brilliant victory over Dundee United, beating the Terrors 1-0 at Tannadice, which was a brilliant result for them. Mickey Mellon left with a bit of thinking to do after that one, losing at home to lower league opposition, also not ideal at all, and it sets them back. Obviously, Premiership clubs came into this with a wee bit of a fitness advantage, given that they've played much of the first round of fixtures in the Premiership. Lower league teams still to play their first competitive domestic league matches, but Peterhead's side, all the same, coming away with a really good victory in that one. And last night as well, as we record this, Dundee United did return to victory, albeit a very slender one against Kelty Hearts. Kelty Hearts again doing themselves no harm at all, beaten Dundee United 1-0, and Ryan Edwards' header just before half time got them the win in that, but still a lot of thinking to do for Mickey Mellon. And Peterhead as well got another victory 3-1 against Brechin City. Group D then, looking at that, Stirling Albion Arbroath kicked that one off, a 2-1 win for Arbroath. Stirling Albion had a few issues with their stadium before that, but thankfully we're all able to get sorted, albeit not the result they wanted, but a decent showing nonetheless against opposition that were above them in the SPFL food chain. And also in Group D, Montrose versus Ross County. Ross County so comfortable in that game, but Montrose penning them back in that one to 3 each, eventually winning on penalties as well. So Montrose were really happy with that ahead of the League One season. The other games in that group that happened over the course of these games are both 3, Montrose 1, Elgin City 2, Stirling Albion 0. So a fairly competitive game, sides losing, drawing, winning sort of fairly evenly, which isn't the case in some of the other groups. And as well as that, the most recent action, Montrose 0, Elgin City 2, and Ross County 2, Arbroath 1. Moving on to Group E, so this is the northern section done, moving into the southern groups. In Group E, it was Dumbarton 0, Dunfermline 1. Good result for Dunfermline, their return to action. And the big talking point, I suppose, from the Tuesday matches in Group E was the Falkirk Kilmarnock game. Falkirk winning 3-0 because of a forfeit for Kilmarnock, not having enough players to play due to COVID regulations, still self-isolate most of their squad this time last week. So they were not able to fulfil this fixture, and as such have forfeited at 3-0, putting them immediately on the back foot in their campaign, which is a real shame for them. They've been on really good form, but a bit of a derailment, and obviously it wasn't a very good start to their League Cup campaign. And then Group E as well on the Saturday, Clyde 3, Dumbarton 2, which took place before the games last night. Kilmarnock again in action. They returned, but with a very youthful side. And even though I think the average age of the squad was slightly younger for Dunfermline overall, that was only because of the likes of Gary Dicker, Chris Buck playing, Colin Doyle, 35, 36-year-olds managing to make the squad. 12 of the 18 made up of youth team players. 9 Kelly Academy graduates making their debut, so it was always going to be a tough test for them, and Dunfermline did take full advantage of that, winning 3-0, albeit still a very good result. Take nothing away from Dunfermline for that one. A really good result for them. Dom Thomas particularly impressive, as well as Fraser Murray. If you get to catch his free kick for the third goal, do check that out. It was a brilliant strike. And in the other match as well, it was Falkirk 2, Clyde 1. But we had plenty of reaction coming from managers in that one. First of all, we heard from the Kilmarnock and Dunfermline bosses after the Dunfermline result in Rugby Park.
Positives that the senior boys in the side got some minutes under their belts. Another positive is that I could bet some of the youngsters and see how they do, and they done all right. So yeah, overall it was a good night in that sense. Obviously the result weren't what we wanted for this football club, but overall it was a decent night because I learned a lot. You know what? They've been training with us the last couple of days, and I liked what I saw in training. So no, I knew that when we went out there today, I knew they would be all right. You know, like I said, first half they were good, and then second half, obviously the whole team, you know, energy levels will drop down a little bit less than what we usually would, knowing that we haven't trained properly for the last sort of like 10 days or so. And obviously the kids are young, and I knew their energy levels would drop as well. But overall, it was a decent night.
I think professional is the right word. I thought it was a good, attractive game of football in the first half. We were limited to chances that we had, and Kilmarnock, you know, caused us problems at times. But I thought we were patient, and again we've shown after getting the first goal that we've got goals in the team, and you know, excellent deliveries and some excellent finishes proved to be the difference tonight. I don't know if we're through yet. I don't know if we're. I think we're just about there. So you know, the Clyde game at this moment, I think, still means that we've got to take something from it. But very pleasing. I said after the Dumbarton game, we're a club that don't use the Betfred as a sort of like get minutes into the boys' legs. I think we've managed to rotate the squad to get minutes into boys, and we're very much looking forward to the league campaign starting Saturday now.
So that was the thoughts of the Kilmarnock and Dunfermline bosses after that one, and we also heard from Falkirk co-manager Lee Miller after his side's 2-1 victory over Clyde.
There is a couple of things we're working on. We'll just need to see what happens over the next few days, but there is a couple of things in the background, yeah.
And after the Dunfermline Kilmarnock result tonight, is kind of qualification something that's kind of looking like
never
a
even
more
seen what the result was. I'm not interested in anybody else. Dunfermline, right. I'm not, to be honest, I'm not really interested in anybody else. We've done the job tonight, and we'll take it from there.
Magic.
Nice one.
Cheers.
So that was Group E. Should also mention as well Dunfermline's victory over Falkirk on the Friday night. A good 2-0 win for the Pars in that one. Dom Thomas and Ewan Murray striking up a really good partnership. 3 goals for Ewan Murray, 3 assists from Dom Thomas, and it puts them in pole position for Group E qualification from what looked like a really tough group on paper, but now, well, it's not fully over the line yet, as Stevie Crawford said. 1 victory against Clyde should do it, and it'll make 4 years out of 4 that they've qualified from these group stages. A really good result for the East End Park team. Looking at Group F now as we move towards sort of the end of these groups. The big talking point on the Tuesday from these games, Albion Rovers 2, Ayr United 5, but Annan Athletic 3, Hamilton 1. The League 2 side completely blown away Accies in that half. I think Brian Rice labelled the performance as an embarrassment at the end of the game, so he wasn't mincing his words, but there was a furious reaction from the Hamilton fans after this one, not happy at all with the results on that one, and it was a really disappointing night for them, all things considered. I think that's a couple of times now before this game that they'd lost to Annan, and then again losing to the League 2 side, a really bitter blow for them. But they came back into action on Saturday. Annan Athletic 1, Stranraer 1, and Hamilton 2, Ayr United 1. I mean, it was bounced back for Accies, but I think it was difficult. Mark Kerr side making things a challenge for them there. but they did get over the line. And also in that group, on the Tuesday, it was Ayr United 1, Annan Athletic 0, and Stranraer 2, Albion Rovers 2, which I think almost set a penalty record in that game. I think it was 14-15 on penalties, a remarkable 29 penalties or something scored in that one. Completely outrageous after a 2-2 draw, but there you go, that'll be a memorable game to look back on in years to come for the Betfred Cup. But Brian Rice is one we heard from after the victory over Ayr at the weekend, and he took aim at keyboard warriors who were attacking his side and him personally online after the defeat to Annan and in the run-up to the Ayr United victory.
It's almost worse like that, it sits up there so long that you're waiting for it to come down and hopefully then you overthink it, but no, it's good. It's great balling from Thames, and obviously we've got Hakeem in there and he's dangerous every time, so it falls down to me, and then just put it away and kind of get it, double the lead, and we get to build on that. But we should go ahead and kind of punish them more from there and close that game a bit cleaner, but at the end of the day, important to just win for us.
I think started the game fine. We missed probably 2 or 3 really good chances first 10-15 minutes, and then we know Hampton are good with cross balls, especially set pieces with Thames' delivery, but we've worked on them. It's just a bit of a signal. The first one's just a ball in the box here, wide area, so it's got to be dealt with. But these things are happening early on, so we get time to work on them. Phil's, the goalkeepers, took a gamble for the cross and it's just get done. But after having chances and the game being quite even, it's a sucker punch to get up with 2 in a row pretty quickly.
We won the match. It's important. We won today. Really important. And we've done that. So that was the objective. And it's the first home league win, I'll say, before any youth set this season. So that's got that monkey off the back as well. And my striker scored. So it's been a good day. That's history. We can't do nothing about that. Today's history now as well. Tomorrow morning this is gone, but people will keep bringing it up. And it's your job to keep bouncing back. And we've bounced back today. Well, we made a mistake and we scored from it, but I think with 2 or 3 chances up the other end to kill the game off, and especially the first half, we had 2 or 3 chances to kill off and we didn't. But like I say, the most important thing today is that the boys bounce back and they got the victory, and we keep ourselves in the competition. Won today. That was important because, with a really poor result in midweek, and I spoke about it, and we took criticism. I took criticism. That's part and parcel. We won today, so we can't get criticised too much today. Somebody told me online, I don't go online. I don't go and bring these people, I bring keyboards. Somebody's got something to say to me, phone me, come and see me, say it to my face. I don't go in and take keyboards and write about other people and whatever. Somebody's got something to say, come and say it. Be man enough to come and chat my door, say, by the way, I don't like this or this.
And thanks as well, at the end of that, you'd have heard from Brian Rice, but you'd also have heard the tones of Hamilton Accies midfielder Charlie Trafford and Ayr United player manager Mark Kerr. So thanks as well for their contributions to that. On to the penultimate group, Group G, which started last week with a 2-2 draw between Morton and Queen of the South, a competitive action between the 2 championship sides. St Mirren beating Partick Thistle 4-1. 4-1 doesn't tell the full story in that one. Partick Thistle really even with the buddies up until about the 73rd minute, where St Mirren completely took the game away from Partick Thistle as perhaps their fitness levels started to drop, with it being one of their first games back for quite a number of weeks. On the Saturday, it was Partick Thistle 2, Queen's Park 0. Joe Cardle coming off the bench to secure a good win for the Jags. Queen of the South were up 2-0 on St Mirren, but they were pegged back to 2 each as well in that one. St Mirren eventually winning the penalty shootout. And on the latest set of fixtures in that group, it was Morton 1, Queen's Park 0, and Queen of the South 0, Partick Thistle 0. Partick Thistle winning on penalties at Palmerston. Despite playing with 10 men for a lot of the game, Brian Graham sent off for a stray elbow. We had a couple of interviews from this one. First of all, hearing from Morton boss David Hopkin after his side's first game of the season.
Yeah, I think you can see the first half thought we'd done okay, 25 minutes we were fine, and scored a good goal. Should have scored 2 or 3, I thought. I think Josh McPate's got to score at half time. I think Ian Nesbitt can square it to Lewis Strap just before half time. He'd be 2-3-0 up. You know what the game's like, and then Alan changed it. He goes 4-2-4. Do you know what I mean? And it's a wee bit on the back foot. But we gave away 2 sloppy goals, 2 passes that I tell players never to play. And maybe that's just a wee bit of rustiness or a wee bit of naivety, thinking we're a good team and we play into mid-lay park, we lose the ball, so we get a corner against, we don't mark. And then the second goal is just one of the ones you're trying to cling behind, the ball is cut out, break on you and it's 2 each. So it's the same thing. Good thing was we went back to 1 each, we got it back to 2-1. I thought we should have kicked on again, but fair play to Queens, they came at us and didn't really create anything. 2 mistakes from us and then obviously our penalties a lottery.
And we also heard from St Mirren defender Richard Tait after St Mirren managed to beat the Jags 4-1.
Yeah, good to be back. Yeah, it's been a frustrating 2 weeks not being able to be involved, but you know that was down to my own fault. So definitely a lesson learned, but good to be back. No, just seeing if the ball and attacked it, and you know it's nice to actually be in the box crosses. I don't think I've been up there that much in my career, but I always knew I could, you know, get myself on the end and stuff. So hopefully that'll continue from the corners and free kicks and stuff. That's it. Yeah, I think there's been a lot of things go against us. You know, like you said, COVID, it hasn't helped. I think a lot of teams will be saying that as well for their squads, but I didn't help the situation get suspended, and neither did Joe. So you know, it'll be nice to get a real solid back line back. Connor's obviously away on international duty, and then when he comes back, then you know, hopefully we're all available.
Okay. So,
that's nice. I'm glad. I thought he might be watching tonight actually, because obviously we play them in the next league game. So maybe got a little text message on my phone. Great time there, great club. You know, was hoping they'd do. Well, they did terrific in Europe, but was hoping they'd go on and get into that group stage. Obviously for all the boys that I know there, but it'll be nice to go back.
Looking at Group H, the final group, last but not least, Edinburgh City losing 5-1 to Livingston. A good start for Gary Holt's side in their League Cup quest. A professional performance from them before on the Wednesday night, Airdrieonians 0, Alloa Athletic 2, Peter Grant's side. Starting the season well before they then travelled to the Tony Macaroni Arena for a 2-1 defeat to Livingston. A good display from Alloa overall in the first half especially, but Livingston came back in the second half and showed their superiority. And then the other game in that group on the Saturday, it was Edinburgh City 2, Stenhousemuir 2. And last night, to round off the group of League Cup fixtures, it was Stenhousemuir 0, Airdrieonians 2, and Alloa Athletic 2, Edinburgh City 1. In this group, we heard from Gary Holt after his side's 2-1 victory over the Wasps.
I thought we controlled the game for the last spells. Don't get me wrong, I think first half it took us a wee bit of getting to grips with how Alloa were playing. We know they're a good football side, they've got a lot of good players, technical players on the ball. So I said to the boys, don't get frustrated, because there will be at times that you'll get popped round about, but we need to get it right. We need to get when we bounce onto people, and at times first half we didn't get it right. But I don't think we deserved to be behind. I think we had enough chances, and I think we should have had a penalty. I think the first one is offside. I think Craig is in the goalie's area, so I think that is offside, but I do think Nicky's is a penalty. But that's my opinion, and I'll watch it back and I'll probably get it wrong. So I did think it was a penalty because I'm actually closer to it, but that's one of those things. But I said to him at half time, the tempo's got to be quicker. We've got to move it quicker. We've got to have people running beyond, and don't get bored of passing the ball. When you've got it, move it. Move players, move them, get them tired. In the second half, I thought we scored two very good goals and had more chances to score. And then our kind of sloppiness kicked in a wee bit, and they had a couple of chances. But I think we deserved the win on balance of playing chances. So, overall, we're another 3 points in the group. Two good games we've had. Aye. But he didn't look as if he was struggling or that, so that's a good thing. And there's more to come from. We know that there's more minutes to get into him, more effort to come output to get out of him as well. So
but I thought there was a lot of good things that he'd done. Link-up play especially, and even the shot for the first goal. He gets in areas. But no, he gave us an out ball as well. If you're under pressure, you can hit it up there. You know he's going to, 9 times out of 10 he'll get hold of it. So that was pleasing. But no, I thought overall it was we came on to it.
So that was it for the League Cup over the last week. We hope you have enjoyed this run through of all the games. Plenty going on in it, and it'll be interesting to see what happens, who goes through, who does make that last 16, where we'll see the introduction of Aberdeen, Motherwell, Celtic and Rangers into the groups as well. So interesting stuff ahead in the League Cup. So be good to see it come back next month. The groups will be finalised then, but before then we have the return of Premiership action. We also have the start of the season for Championship, League 1 and League 2 clubs. So everybody going into it probably that wee bit fitter in November. But that's all for this video. We hope you have enjoyed. Do check out all the other content that's on the channel. Premiership reviews and previews as well coming up, as well as reaction to all the Scotland matches that have gone on in the last 6 days. A triple header for Steve Clark's side coming to its end on a fruitful week for the national team. So do check out as well our exclusive interviews that are on the channel. One coming towards the end of this week, one to keep an eye out, particularly if you're a Hibs fan. But until next time, take it easy.